It is what it is. Welcome.
It is what it is.
Welcome to First World Third Rails. Your host still here, Marlon Taylor, aka Mayhem, aka Mr. Disruptive, with his partner in crime, the one and only J.D. Wilson, aka JD.
I like.
How are you, brother?
Very fancy. Very fancy.
How are you, brother?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm not. And let me tell you why I'm not. Because our podcast is not the Pat McAfee show yet, but we'll get there.
Actually, we probably won't. I think that's an important consideration. We'll probably get nowhere.
We'll probably get nowhere, but we're doing it anyway.
We're doing it anyway. That's it. I think they're literally separate, distinct realities. We won't get there. We're doing it anyway.
We're doing it anyway. Wow, it's good to have you back. You were off for a few days doing a little R&R. R&R is always good. As you know, prior to us coming on camera, I said that I attended a Seattle networking event via Zoom this morning, and one of the last, it was kind of a meet and greet, if you will, who you are, what you do, question if you have one, and tip for the group. And it was a very, very small group. And one of the tips that a gentleman gave at the end, as we were concluding the Zoom session, was, hey, work's going to be there. Get outside, stretch your legs, breathe the fresh air, let the sun hit you, if only for a couple of minutes. And I said, that's a great tip. I am the worst at following that advice, but that's a great tip.
No, you mean getting outdoors, letting the sun hit you?
Getting away
from. You had pictures of your chair. Of course, I noticed you weren't in your chair outside.
Wasn't in the chair. But you got away for R&R. That's always a good thing.
We did. We got away for R&R to a beautiful little cottage. It was absolutely magnificent. We went there because there was a private pool in the middle of nowhere. It was absolutely lovely. The only problem is that the weather did not cooperate. A major move in.
It was Seattle weather.
And there was no sun. Yeah, we had Seattle weather, so we flipped it. So a lot of positive aspects related to the trip, but the weather did not cooperate.
Yeah, there's always one.
Always something.
Lots been happening. Lots been happening while you've been gone, my friend.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In fact, I started, well, not really started today, but a short time ago, I sent out one of my staple tweet responses to my Twitter community, which is, he is not going to jail, but I do agree he should be in jail. And we all know who he is.
Once again,
and this is on the heels of the recording that CNN released yesterday.
Yeah, I heard that was intriguing.
Not to me.
Well, okay.
You've heard me say a million times, we know what he has done. We know what he's done.
Yeah.
How many times do we have to go through this fucking revolving door? We know what he has done.
Well, it's a revolving door.
Jesus Christ.
Therein lies the problem. We're going through that revolving. Well, actually, not going through. We're just going around.
We're going around and around and around. We know what he's done. Anybody else would be in jail by now. So it's
that part is generally accepted. Nobody argues that anymore. I have not heard anybody argue that particular aspect anymore. Nobody's saying he's innocent. Nobody's saying that anybody else would have gotten away with it. Everybody's like, well, he's not innocent. Nobody else would be getting away with it. That's progress. I know, relatively speaking, it's progress. Absolutely, it's.
I would
exhausting.
Hope. I would hope it is exhausting because it's pointless to have the discussion because he's not going to jail.
Okay. You said it's pointless to have the discussion, which, as you know, I like to connect dots across space and time matters.
You like the exposition.
Large and small. And one of your best dissertations that you ever did was the one on why you keep throwing kindling onto the fire
Yep.
at
Yep.
on Twitter,
Yep.
because I don't do Twitter, and you're like, I do it for the people who are trying to formulate an opinion, even if we don't know why anybody's still trying to formulate an opinion, but presumably, obviously, they're out there, people who are on the fence. And you're like, I need to communicate with the people on the fence. So that's why we have the discussion. That's why we go through with this. Because
It's painful.
the people who are in positions of responsibility and can actually put him in jail, they still need to have the supporting materials to make that decision. Now, something good happened.
Oh, I'm wide open.
Well, I mean,
For
the
something
Supreme
good.
Court, absent Alito,
Yes.
Gorsuch, and
Yep. Yep.
wasn't Kavanaugh. Who was the third one?
Are you talking relative to the North Carolina abortion?
Oh, no. This one was relative to states' rights, state legislature rights vis-a-vis the federal government. What's interesting is I never actually hear a clear and lucid statement on what the hell is going on. I don't know why that is. I actually ended up yelling at somebody who was trying to explain it. It's like, what? But it appears that, was it Louisiana? Was trying to not only gerrymander, but they were also trying to say that the federal government had no sway in the interpretation of federal election laws within the state, and that the state legislature could amend, change, whatever it wanted. And that was actually struck down. That's my understanding of it. Again, I can't get a clear and lucid reading on it, but I would characterize that as positive, if that's what happened. Okay.
I'm trying to lasso that positive, but
Okay, so justices, okay, your friend and mine, Clarence Thomas,
oh God.
Neil Gorsuch, and Samuel Alito. Gerrymandering. The independent state legislature theory is a dangerous fringe legal theory that has no place in our democracy. In its most extreme form, the independent state legislature theory could have weakened the foundation of our democracy, removing a crucial check on state legislatures and making it easier for rogue legislators to enact policies that suppress voters and subvert elections without adequate oversight from the state court. So what they were talking about is they wanted to substitute the judgment of the state's legislature for the voters in federal government elections. And that was struck down by the Supreme Court, if I understand it correctly. I hope
You do.
Nobody's
You do.
watching. I feel comfortable offering that opinion. I mean, it's not going to affect anybody's well-being.
You know,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I've thought about this.
Which aspect?
The aspect I'm about to share.
Oh, okay.
Am I as old as Joe Biden? I'm close, but am I as old as Joe Biden?
No, and you won't be between the ages of 82 and 86 during your next
So
term.
I think if I were to announce my run for candidacy for the president of the United States, I
Yeah.
have that going for me. That's number one.
Oh, because you're not that old.
I'm not that old. Here's my second big nut on my platform. I'm going to go back to what you
That's not a platform.
I'm going to go back to what you and I talked about many moons ago.
Namely,
So this is my campaign announcement. This is my campaign. This is the crux of my campaign. Elect me, and I will take every effing maggot and I will build a wall, and we will put them wherever you want to put them. Middle of the country, bottom end of Texas. I don't care. We need to wall them off. And I will put them wherever, and they can fend for themselves. We're done with them.
I'll vote
We're
for
done
you.
with them.
And I'm the only person listening, so I would be the only person voting for you.
I think I'd get more. I think I would get more. And here's why I'm
More. But the question
here.
then would be, it's NIMBY, not in my backyard. Where are you going to put these fuckers? I guess
I
you would
don't care.
do it
I don't
out.
care.
You'd have to do it in the, well, they wouldn't want to give up Texas and Florida. That's what gives them reach. Texas and Florida are the states that give the Magadonians reach.
I would put them on a garbage barge and let them float around the goddamn world. I don't care. We need to
Unfortunately, they're sentient and they know how to swim, I suspect, or some.
well, good. Let them swim. Let them take the sub down to the Titanic. I don't care. We need to wall them off and get rid of them out of our society. And here's why I'm saying that specifically today. I'm going to assume that you have not been privy to the comments of the uber ignorant MAGA Roseanne Barr.
I have not been privy to said comments by said Uber Magadonia. What does she have up her what did she say?
Nothing intelligent. That's the first thing you need to know, because she never says anything intelligent. But
I mean, heard on you.
Because she's trending, and I'm like, oh, let me see why she's trending. And then now I regret to know why. Well, not totally.
Okay, I agree. You're right.
Because to be trending, that means you uttered something out of your feeble fucking brain that shouldn't have been uttered. And this is one of them. Nobody died in the Holocaust. 6 million Jews should die today because they're the root of all of our problems.
Okay, hold on. Are you just fabricating stuff out of thin air?
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, I'm going to Twitter. Where is Twitter? It's at Twitter, I assume. So
look up John Cooper. Search on John Cooper.
Okay, believe it or not, people, I'm gonna log in. Why do I see Elon Musk in my feed? No, it's not my feed.
I got a new name for him.
Okay, hold on.
One of my Twitter followers gave it to me this morning. I said that is a perfect name for that twit. Elmo.
Well, I use Elmo from time to time.
Elmo Musk. That's the first time I've heard that one, I think, or the first time I can recall.
Well, I like Elmo. I don't favor that. Whatever. Okay, so what do I do here? I go home.
Search on John Cooper. Jon Cooper. Cooper.
Is that a maggot?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
John Cooper tweets.
Yep, that's him.
National Finance Chair, blah, 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 blah. Well, it looks like someone. What am I looking for?
3 hours ago. His tweet from 3 hours ago.
Okay, so how do I know? Okay, 3 hours. Liz Cheney. An amazing victory for voters and voting rights. Supreme Court rejects independent. That's good. Supreme Court.
Yep.
Nico Rose. Oh, okay. Here it is. Nobody died in the Holocaust. It should happen. 6 million should, because it. Okay, is that him writing or is he quoting from that conversation?
He's quoting her from that interview. Okay. So let me ask you a question. If Marlon Taylor said that, what would happen to Marlon Taylor on Twitter? What would happen to Marlon Taylor?
Nothing. That's why nothing. They'd be like,
no.
Nothing would happen.
I would be off Twitter.
Hold on. He didn't. She said it in a video. He's quoting the video.
Right.
So there's nothing to be. There's nothing going on here.
Oh, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, but Roseanne Barr, apparently, I haven't seen the video and I'm not going to watch the video, but apparently she said in that video, nobody died in the Holocaust. It should happen. 6 million Jews should die right now because they cause all the problems of the world. All right.
What would happen if I said that?
So Roseanne Barr said it in a video. Nothing would happen.
I don't care where she said it.
I'm exercised about it, but this is the kind of thing that I don't understand on Twitter. John Cooper did not say it, and Roseanne Barr did not say it on Twitter. Under the
video of her video of her
what was in there.
Her video of her saying it is on Twitter. Is that not a violation of Twitter rules?
No, there's not a single violation.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Her video of her saying it
is a violation of Twitter rules. It's misinformation, one,
All right,
and
so,
many people have been suspended from Twitter for misinformation, specifically around COVID, specifically around the election. And this is worse than both of those.
all right, well, actually, the last person anybody should ask about Twitter is me, so I know nothing about it. So your point is valid from the standpoint that I'm not a subject matter expert and I don't know what rules are. All right, so let me catch up to you, though. You're making a point, and it sounds like it makes sense. You're saying that posting misinformation on Twitter, whether it's in a text format in a tweet or a video that's being circulated, you're saying those would violate the Twitter rules? I don't.
Those I've seen far less violate Twitter rules. I just saw, I'm not connected to her, but I just saw a user on Twitter. Let me get this right. One of my Twitter connections responded to this user on Twitter who said, and this is where the name Elmo came from, right?
Mhm. Okay.
And the user that I'm not connected to said she's been suspended for 3 days for, let me get this right, for she is being suspended for 3 days for violating the spam policy.
The spam policy. What you talking about, Willis?
Twitter supposedly has a spam policy.
Oh,
So
so she violated for 3 days, but not for the content, but for the spam?
And she claims she didn't violate Twitter's spam rules. What a joke. I've done nothing to violate your spam policy at Twitter, is her claim. Now, she obviously, this user has a wine business, so Twitter must have viewed one of her tweets as spamming the Twitter public, but you suspend her for 3 days, and we'd have to look at the details of her tweet where she's
Yeah,
saying,
it's still there. You were suspended for 6 days for
yeah,
basically agreeing with
yeah,
a poster.
yeah. And this isn't a violation? No Jew, no one died in the Holocaust?
Well, again, I'm not a Twitter expert, but I think I've
I'm an
distinguished
expert
myself
on
from the
history.
outset by saying I'm
I'm
not
an
going to
expert on
Twitter
history.
by trying to use logic to figure out what's going
I'm
on.
an expert.
It's
I'm an expert. I'm an expert on history. 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust.
I know. And it's misinformation. It's really unpleasant and disgusting. I wish it didn't exist. If it were on Twitter, I wish it would be removed in its entirety.
Well, I'm sure, because Roseanne Barr has a Twitter account, that she's posted that video because she's very proud of saying we should kill 6 million Jews. What would happen if I said we should kill 6 million Jews today?
Okay,
What would happen to me?
I'm catching up to you slowly. I'm working my way through. I'm assuming that you would be barred for 3 days.
Permanently. I would be barred permanently. I would be barred permanently.
That seems reasonable. I think she should be barred permanently. But there's a whole thing with the First Amendment, and I think we're going to get to a point where you're going to be able to threaten people and get away with it soon. I saw something to that effect. In other words, the only way to handle this properly is to just quit getting all exercised about it and let people.
No, the only way to handle it properly is to build a fucking wall, put them inside the wall, and never be heard from them again. That's the only way to handle this properly.
Hey, you got my vote.
I'm running.
You're running, and I'm the only person who knows.
I got one vote. I'll take it.
All right, so we need to put that into the.
Christ, we live in a toilet right now.
Whoa! Whoa!
We do. We do.
We've got this half glass full issue going on.
No, you have the glass half full. To me, the glass is 3/4 empty right now. You saw the video I sent you this morning.
That's an old one. Yeah, that is magically delicious. That is an incredible video. I love that
And
video.
we're not airing it here on our show.
No,
for
we're
the-
not. Well, those things are all just
for
so
the for
pathetic
the
and
for the
disgusting. For the same
audience,
reason we wouldn't revisit this Roseanne
to
Barr.
bring the audience in full circle for context, I sent
You
JD a
cannot
video.
describe this video.
It was a QAnon maggot knucklehead imbecile who believes Joe Biden is dead. He's a stunt double, is running. He believes Trump is president right now. He's just running everything from Mar-a-Lago.
He believes that Trump is actually the president and that there's an actor playing Joe Biden and that the policies that are being enacted are being
Deep
permitted
state.
by Trump in order to demonstrate to the public what it would be like to be under a Democratic administration. That's pretty good. And he speculates that James Woods is playing Biden.
Wall them off. Never be heard from them again.
Why? Okay, I got an odd one for you. As you know, before we started this, I was actually cursing and yelling.
Yeah.
And that was because of artificial intelligence and all of the
Ills
trying
that come with that. Right.
which has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Right. Right.
But apart from aggravations related to trying to get some stuff done, I feel pretty good. I feel like the world is turning. I feel like things are getting better.
Uh-huh.
What did you think of Lindsey Graham and for some reason I forgot the Democrat's name.
I've hit my quota on cursing for today's show, so I have no comment on Lindsey Graham.
Well, no, that was a good thing. That was actually a very good thing. Congress doesn't have any influence relative to declarations of solidarity for Article 5 with NATO, but they did do a good job of articulating some of the possible outcomes if either nuclear weapons are motivated out of Belarus or if they mine and blow up the Zaporizhia power plant. I thought those were timely, positive, and indicative of real progress.
Why are they positive?
I track the Ukraine war. Like, I'm not on Twitter, but I probably invest at least an hour a day in the Ukraine war. And there are a lot of positive things going on there. So I treat the Ukraine war as a proxy, if you will, for global events. A lot of things have happened in and around that war, including with China, obviously with Russia, but then with China. And the world is changing. It's dangerous right now in the sense that it could go wrong, but there appear to be a number of things that are going right. And speculation, my projection is that the Ukrainians will reach the Azov Sea coming through Zaporizhia. They will take out the Kerch Bridge. They will isolate everybody from Melitopol down, which will include the Crimea, and Russia will fail at least in the southern part of their occupation. I don't know if they'll be able to drive them out of it's called the Donbass. It's the
right.
Donetsk and Luhansk. Those are oblasts or something, like provinces up in the east. But that's a real positive. I consider all of the events surrounding Trump to be positive.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm not affected by people like Roseanne Barr. So
you are.
Roseanne Barr could actually come to my house and talk to me, and I would say goodbye, and she doesn't affect me. There's nothing that she says that affects me.
She doesn't.
I know they affect other people, but I don't consider them, as you know, to be I don't consider her to be the cause. I consider her to be the symptom.
She doesn't affect me, but words matter.
Well,
words matter. You and I have had this argument. Words matter.
Yes, but I'm seeing some things that are really promising, and one of which is in the words matter category. In other words, what we're living with right now, which was 1 minute and 21 seconds recap of Roseanne Barr stating that all these things about Jews. Those words are so ignorant. Your word, they are so pathetic and disgusting that they don't change minds. In other words, if you're already believing that Jews should suffer, then you'll like those words. But we don't have any association with those people. Same thing with Trump. Trump, because of
They're
his
among us.
words matter, his words are actually causing huge problems for him also.
Yes, the more he talks, the deeper the hole gets.
Yeah,
But
I think it's great.
those words that Roseanne Barr issued resonate with people that are among us.
Right, but they're already lost. In other words, if you agree with that, then we just hope you're in the minority and we can neutralize your influence at the legislative level. In other words, they're going to walk among us. We just don't want them making laws and sending Jews to concentration camps. So we're hoping they're in the minority. I think they're in the minority.
They need to be in a boat set to sea and never heard from again is what they need to be.
I love it when you do that. You know, we could call the podcast Marlon solves another problem.
Because I'm tired. I'm just tired. There's no reach. I've said it before. I'll say it again. When they are in the cult, inside the bubble, there is no reaching these people. There's no education.
Okay, we just agreed. We just agreed.
Yes. Yes. There's no, they're done. They're done.
So they're meaningless, and they're meaningless unless they gain power.
And they won't gain power as long as we keep Orange Dick Stain out of office.
You mean Trump?
That one.
You keep trying to insult him, but I don't think you can insult more than you cannot insult him more by calling him something else beside Trump. Just calling him Trump is the ultimate.
I can't. It makes me nauseous.
Ah.
As someone said about the CNN tape that was released, which, Your Honor, Exhibit A, the words out of his mouth. The person, one of the people who retweeted that CNN clip, and I got to paraphrase, said that just hearing his voice makes me nauseous.
Oh, I have that problem in the house. If he comes on in any way, shape, or form, my significant other.
But hearing that name has the same effect on me. But
okay, I see that.
This tape is so incriminating.
Depending on which side you're on, I find it.
Oh no, there is no side. There is no side.
Roseanne Barr would say, "Well, you know, this demonstrates that he was."
She doesn't count. She doesn't count. She doesn't count. I'm talking about people.
You just made my point for me. I was saying she doesn't matter unless she gets power.
I'm talking about people with regards to the CNN tape that's been making the rounds. People with an IQ above single digit would recognize he has yet again broken the law. And what angers me is not that he broke the law and he's not going to be held accountable. I've well moved past that, because that's why I keep telling people he's not going to jail. What angers me is the so-called patriots who got upset with Colin Kaepernick because he kneeled for the fucking flag. You call yourself a patriot, yet you support the most treasonous bastard on the planet.
You know, if I hadn't been hanging with you for such a long time, I wouldn't understand how meaningful Colin Kaepernick is.
Yes.
But it's almost like a North Star. Because I know if you go back through these podcasts, every once in a while, I'm like, are you bringing him up again? But it's almost like he's a North Star of imbalance.
Yes.
So I'm beginning to kind of catch up to you on this.
Yes.
He's not the same point of reference for me than he is for you. And I'm assuming that's because he's black.
No, he's the point of reference for me, because the system
a point of reference. He's just not the same major point of reference.
The system is broken. He called that out. The system continues to be broken, and we're not doing anything to fix it.
I think of it more as an exhibit than the North Star.
Give me a better North Star.
I can't.
No, there is none.
I like that question, and I don't have an answer. The reason I like the question is because I don't have an answer. I'm
There
going to have to
isn't.
think about
There
it.
isn't. Yeah, think about it, because there isn't one. He called it out. We know what it is. We see it. Anybody else on that tape, FBI would be having you in the back of their cruiser right now. Right now. The second CNN aired that tape of him making those comments about those highly classified
Yeah,
documents,
about secure documents related to the defense of the United States.
FBI would have executed a no-knock warrant before that tape ended, and you would be in custody.
It would be roughly analogous to posting the materials
Yes.
on the Discord server for your gaming group.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they were on him with a SWAT team in
Yes.
11 hours. I mean, I mean,
Yes.
literally a heartbeat, boom, with the drone. Remember the drone footage?
Yep.
Everything was there.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to go back to my positive vibe, only because I'm desperately trying to help you.
I need it. I need it.
One of the things that's been intriguing to me in all of these conversations related to the Mar-a-Lago initiative, you know, where they're trying to get him indicted and then convicted in Florida, were questions related to Bedminster in New Jersey. And
Yep.
one of
Yep.
the things that appears to be, even for non-legal people, just innocent, you know, people who are bystanders, which I'm a bystander, it seems that the DOJ is not to be trifled with when it comes to matters of law if they apply themselves.
Right. Right.
And I'm sure there are many, many situations where you had the DOJ, like some other organization, they're mailing it in. They're not making an exceptional effort. It appears they're making an exceptional effort here. And the way it manifests is it starts to make sense why they haven't done anything in New Jersey, because New Jersey is a fallback. The February 6th, excuse me.
January 6th.
It seemed like it took forever. The January 6th insurrection, it's another fallback. It appears that there are a series of dominoes, but the dominoes, one domino doesn't have to hit the other for them, for
Right.
any one of them to fall independently.
Right. Right.
So I find that very reassuring. I feel like they're taking this seriously, and that's probably in the absence of them actually just driving to his house and arresting him and putting him in jail immediately, which isn't happening. The next thing I would want is I would want the cognizant agency, which in this case is Department of Justice, to fucking pay attention and do a good job. And they appear to be doing that.
I'll hold out hope that you're accurate on that statement. I will hold out hope for that. Here's what I want. And you know what I've wanted since this all started. Since the call.
You wanted to put him in a pen and float him out to sea.
No, yeah, that too. Rule him, and if it's a Constitution amendment, fine. Rule him ineligible to ever hold public office again, and
Yeah.
I won't give a goddamn what happens with
That's
January 6th. I think justice should be done for those, especially Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police, like Officer Fanone, the insurrectionist who just got 12 years for using the chemical spray on Officer Fanone. I want to continue to see justice like that. The phone call to Georgia, the state attorney in that case down there, all of it. I want to see justice and the scales balance, which is why, again, Colin Kaepernick did what he did. I want to see that. But let's cut to the chase and just rule him ineligible to ever hold public office again. And you will not get kindling from Marlon Taylor on Twitter anymore. Vis-a-vis
excellent point.
Vis-a-vis the orange mango.
That's actually a very good point. Let me see if I can recap. I'm going to recap with your
Go for it.
sentence, which was, let's cut to the chase. If we could just keep him from running for office again, everything would be settled.
Yeah,
That actually,
because MAGAs would have to look.
Perfect
They would have to, and they won't. And I'm making the prediction, Nostradamus Marlon again. They won't find that replacement voice this election cycle being 2024.
okay,
They
you
will
may be
not find,
Nostradamus Marlon, but we're in complete agreement because I think I've surfaced that
they
before.
will not find that replacement that quickly. Because there is no
Not a true
replacement.
Trumper. They won't be
There
able
is
to
no
find
replace-
another Trump.
There is no replacement for him. So they will wander aimlessly looking for the next Hitler out of the Republican Party, which won't come up in 2024. 2028, God willing, I'm here. We'll deal with that then with whoever they come up with, but they won't replace him by next year. So we can rid ourselves of a lot of pain, heartache, bigotry, racism, whatever you want to call it, by just simply ruling him ineligible to hold office again. And we're already at a point where
I don't
we're
know.
already we're at a point where we can do that. He's been indicted twice.
No, that would be a totally new effort. That effort isn't currently underway. The only effort that's underway is to punish him in a manner that would incarcerate him. And even that technically would not keep him from running.
Right, which is why we need the amendment.
That's curious. I wonder if there's anything afoot to do that.
Yes, there is. I've seen move.org, I think, has a
MoveOn.org.
has a petition out because people are waking up.
Where is the petition?
I don't know, dude. I don't have it in front of me. I just know I've seen it. Where people are slowly waking up to the fact that Marlon has a point, and they don't even know who Marlon, aka Mayhem, aka Mr. Disruptive is, but they agree with my point. How are you allowed to hold the office of president as a convicted felon if you can't even vote? Colin Kaepernick, enter, take stage left, take a knee. So they're waking up to that fact.
As you know, I'm prone to start typing and posing questions to artificial intelligence, which is just an aggregator. All it does is it aggregates links. So the question was, are there any efforts being made? Yes, there are a few efforts being made to keep Trump from running for office in 2024. First, the 14th Amendment.
Yep.
Second, state laws. Some states have passed laws that would make it more difficult for Trump to run for president in 2024. Oh, okay. This is kind of an indirect one. For example, Colorado has a law that requires presidential candidates to release their tax returns, and New York has a law that prohibits.
Let's not go down that road.
I'm almost done. And New York has a law that prohibits people from holding public office if they have been convicted of certain crimes. So, but that's at the state level. Here's one. You'll love this one. This is the third one. Some Democrats have called on the Republican Party to prevent Trump from running for president again.
Meaningless.
You talk about meaningless.
As meaningless as the tax aspect is.
All right, so it looks like
we still haven't seen his taxes from 2016.
No, we're mutually agreed. State laws, political pressure, those two are no good. The 14th Amendment.
Yes, that's the one we need right there.
Some legal experts argue that this provision could be used to disqualify Trump from running for president again. However, it is unclear whether the DOJ would be willing to bring charges against Trump under this provision, and it is also unclear whether a court would find that Trump's actions meet the legal definition of insurrection. In other words, if he's deemed to have engaged in insurrection or rebellion, the 14th Amendment could be enlisted to keep him from running.
We know why
the federal office. So he could, in fact, become dog catcher, but he wouldn't.
We know why we know exactly why maggots went to the Capitol on January 6, 2021. We know why.
Went to overturn the election
At whose direction?
at Trump's direction. Yeah, I don't think that's in question anymore.
Oh, it is to some.
For some, but we just need to keep them in the minority. This majority minority thing is actually handy now. In other words, the objective is not to change their minds, it's just to keep them in the minority and keep them out of power.
Yes. 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 And the best way we can keep them out of power is to cut the head of the snake off.
In this particular case, yes.
Yes.
Now, I made a prediction in our last podcast, which nobody saw. And I said, somebody's going to explore the feasibility of calling him out. And I suggested Chris Christie might be the logical candidate to do that. Since that podcast, he has done exactly that. And there was a really good, speaking of, 90-second clips, did you happen to see the 90-second clip where he was booed, but then there was a smattering of applause when he said that he kind of skirted the issue, but he said Trump is not a man of character, so he's not really suited to be a leader.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Okay, but he's testing the waters, and I've seen him say the exact same thing now a half dozen. I'm not going to embellish. I've actually heard him say it 3 different times. I was embellishing.
The problem with Chris Christie is he's about as useless as a fucking condom with a hole in it.
No.
Yes.
He's running in the third position now, apparently, in the Republican arena. So he's behind Ron DeSantis, but he's ahead of Haley, Scott, however many other people they have.
That bar is so low, you'd have to dig it up to see it.
Notwithstanding, he is getting airtime. So the beauty of it is that because he's attacking Trump, he's getting airtime because nobody else is attacking him. But at least he's newsworthy. So Christie is.
To you.
No, I'm telling you, I'm sitting there minding my own business and he's coming across my field of view. I'm seeing him. And we're seeing him because he's attacking Trump. All the times I see him, it's when he's attacking Trump. So that was my speculation, that somebody would test the waters and make a determination whether it was politically expedient to go against him. And so I'm sure he sat down at a conference table with jelly donuts and coffee and powwowed with his team and came up with this concept of Trump is lacking in character, which was deemed to be not too direct, but still a criticism. So I consider that positive. I'm trying to cheer you up, big guy.
That's a reach.
Oh, and here's another one.
Because we're talking about Chris Christie here.
Yes.
Very low bar.
But he's a human.
The lowest of bars.
And he's not
the lowest of bars.
Yeah.
The only bar lower is Ron DeSantis.
I would rather vote for a Democrat than Chris Christie.
Glad to hear that.
So he's not my idea of the.
You want to know what will cheer me up? I can tell you what will cheer me up, and this is going to make you go to your bag. Holy shit! I didn't know that about Marlon, but you already knew that about me.
I knew I didn't know that. That's correct.
I, for the last week and a half, have been absolutely heartbroken, and it has nothing to do with the orange mango.
I am so sorry. What is the matter?
Here is the matter. And here's why Marlon is absolutely heartbroken. I just saw clips yesterday of another North American tour stop for The Cure. And this one was at a place that is so near and dear to my heart. I'm heartbroken, and I've told The Cure this on Twitter, that I missed him here in Seattle. My boy Smarv, shout out to Todd Marvin, my boy Smarvs, who went and didn't even think about Marlon with The Cure. Why would Marlon go see The Cure?
Yeah, the nerd.
He didn't know. He had no idea. That was a big part of my history. Yeah, I'm black. This one, yes, I am black and I like The Cure. This one was at a place near and dear to my heart. the Meriwether Post Pavilion in Columbia, Maryland. And my understanding is that they perform for 3 hours on Sunday night.
Sweet mother of pearl.
I'm heartbroken. And the way I handled the heartbreak, I told one of my Twitter followers that great band, great venue that holds a special place in my heart, Meriwether Post Pavilion, from when I lived in a different time and world when I lived on the East Coast. The only solace I have is that I have the Cure's 30th anniversary tour at Hyde Park in London kept in a secure location on my DVR and can pull that up whenever the heartburn and heartache becomes too, like it did this weekend. I have to pull up, their intro plain song. Was their intro at Meriwether, their intro at Hyde Park.
Which song?
Plain song.
Plain, Plain.
Yeah.
I don't remember that from the
brother.
Cure album we have.
Oh, brother. Brother.
Is that on All Mixed Up? I don't think it is.
What's All Mixed Up?
Oh, the Cure, All Mixed Up. That's
that album.
the album where my wife introduced me to the Cure.
Ooh.
I don't think a Plain song is on there.
It is, I can tell you, or maybe not, I can tell you. Which album? Oh God, hold on. I can tell you. Hold on. Get una momento. I can tell you exactly what album it's on.
Plain song is
and it is the
Cure.
It is my favorite Cure, especially at Hyde Park, the way they open Disintegration. It's on Disintegration.
Plain song.
I love Robert.
It was the first track on the ninth studio album, Disintegration.
Yep.
Okay, so I have got to listen to that.
Oh my God, you need to see it.
It's not on All Mixed Up. That's why I haven't heard it.
You can YouTube Cure Meriwether Post Pavilion, because I think they opened that concert with it as they did at Hyde Park. The opening at Hyde Park was phenomenal. I love that band. Here's another band. This is
Plain song is not on that.
No.
Okay.
Disintegration.
I've got to go find that.
Yes, you do.
I will.
I would Google or Google. I would YouTube search The Cure Hyde Park, because that's the best opening I've ever seen them do. Oh my God. I got to share something else with you. This is another one of those. Are we sure Marlon's black? Yes, Marlon is black. I was born at Walter Reed Hospital, Washington, D.C., a million moons ago. But of course, my better half, like you, was like, are we sure he's black? Because here's what you want to know what puts me in a better mood? I know people we talk about.
Yes, I've been trying to figure out how to put you in a better mood. Clearly, talking about the Cure at Hyde Park is the answer.
We talked about that before we came on air. One of the tips in my social networking call: get outside, stretch your legs, breathe some fresh air, see the sun. You know what puts me in a good mood? Music. And for those that don't know, I used to be a DJ in a former life. Yes, I have the voice, but I was more into the music than I was about using my voice. Of Marvelous Marv.
Did you have a DJ handle?
Marvelous Marv.
Oh, you were Marvelous Marv? You weren't the Disruptor. Disrupt-ish.
Wasn't the Disruptor back then. I played some of one of the best concerts I've ever seen. Not live. And I've seen these guys live, but this one is recorded, and I got to go back. I'm going to say it was in the aughts, maybe, when I first saw this concert. And it's a phenomenal show for a number of reasons. I'm going to give you the top reasons.
Okay, are you
Well,
gonna tell us the band before or after?
I'm going to tell you, that's reason number one, the band,
Oh, okay. I think
AC/DC. AC/DC.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen AC/DC live.
Oh,
Was that with the original singer or
yes,
new singer?
yes. No, original. This was in the aughts, so original.
Wow.
Um, this concert, give me 1 second, and I'm sure you can find this via streaming or on YouTube. It is AC/DC live at River Plate. River Plate is a soccer stadium in Mexico. I'm always conservative with my numbers. Conservatively, I estimate there are festival style seating concert. There are well over 150,000 people on the field level. Another 100,000+ in all three levels of the stadium level.
So there are 250,000 people in the same place?
So I told my better half, there's only one band that I know of, rock and roll band that I
I can
know
fill
of,
that in.
that can fill an arena like that. Only one band for sure that I know of that can play with the energy that they played with for 2.5 hours. And thirdly, only one band on the planet that can keep the energy level where it was for 300,000 people.
Oh, we're up to 300,000.
250.
That sounds magical.
Picture 150,000 people in a mosh pit. Because that's what it is. And my better half, she's looking at it, and the camera cuts from the stage to the crowd continually because the crowd is so huge. And I said, honey, can you imagine if she's like, first of all, at 5'2", I'd be crushed to death in that crowd.
True.
And secondly,
But we would never know. That's the whole point.
we would never know. Her feet would never hit the ground because you see the crowd just kind of surge in one direction, and then it would surge in another direction. There were flares being lit off. AC/DC, man, Angus is, in my opinion, one of the greatest guitar players ever to grace our planet.
Well, he definitely was wired into the mind. There's a
And
whole
that,
theory that the reason electric guitar is so popular is because it approximates the actual waves
yes.
that
And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing I love about them. And I made this comment to my better half while we were watching the concert, and they were playing their staples: Hell's Bells, Thunderstruck, Back in Black, Dirty Deeds. When they did Dirty Deeds Done Cheap, man, the crowd went
it
crazy.
seems like technically that would have been the Brian Johnson era, not the Bon Scott era. You said the aughts, right? That's 80s?
No,
Bon
2000.
Scott died in 1980, as I recall.
Okay, so yeah, no, but aughts being 2000.
Right. And I think the song Back in Black was a tribute to Bon Scott, but it was sung by Brian Johnson.
That, I believe, would make sense.
Well, it would make sense because if those were the songs that they were playing, they were off the Back in Black album.
They were playing. They played the, Hell's Bells is off that album.
Yep. Yeah, that's literally top 10 material there.
Yeah.
Top 10 albums of all time.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a test to see if you're white.
I wanted to wrap up that thought though.
Sorry.
And I can't remember where I was going, but that's okay. It'll come back to me.
Well, you were talking about watching the concert
Yeah.
and they were going through all their hits.
Yeah.
And there were 150,000 people in the field, 100,000 in the stands.
Which
Your
is
significant other was
absolutely.
marveling that she wouldn't survive that
Oh,
thing.
I remember what it was. I remember
Okay.
what it was. Unlike today, there was, and this is the entire concert. I know I was driving her crazy when I kept saying it. Unlike today, there was no pyrotechnics. There's no graphics. There's
There's no giant screen.
no giant screen. There is the stage. There are amplifiers and speakers. That's it.
It's almost as if the music and the band were the focal point.
Were the focal point.
Go figure. The last concert I saw was downtown. I saw Coldplay. I haven't been to a concert since. I hated it.
Was that your test of whether or not I'm black?
No, that's not the test.
I love
But I want to comment on what you're commenting on. So I went into that concert, and on my way into that concert, I had really been enjoying the new Coldplay album, which was Speed of Sound or something like that.
Yes.
I forget what it was called. Anyway, I was really enjoying it. I'd probably listened to it a dozen times. I was very pleased to be going to the concert. I came out of that concert and I swore I'd never go to another one. Why? Because of what you just cited. It was nothing but screens and effects, and it was so fucking loud. I could not stand it. I hated it. And I then did not listen to them probably for another 4 years, until I finally was able to listen to them again. They made me hate their music. But here's the test to see if you're black. Have you ever heard the album, Top 10 Albums? It's from an album called, from a band called Bread, as in white bread. Are you familiar with Bread?
I know Bread. I think I have them.
Yeah, they had the Greatest Hits album, which is absolutely positively a fantastic album if you're in a romantic mood. I love that album, and
rarely am I in a romantic mood, but
I would think that would be about as far away from some of the staples as anything, because it's just a little bit like America.
Okay.
Well, if you're not familiar with it,
I have the Best of Bread album.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So you get that too?
I have that too. It surprises me you say that about Coldplay, man.
Why? I like Coldplay. I just didn't like them for a period of time.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I was only mentioning it to reinforce the point that you were making, which was that it was before all the ancillary horseshit. So, when AC/DC pulled in to do a show for 250,000 people, they probably had one truck, took the amps off. I don't recall the actual number, but apparently when U2 went on their world tour, they had like a dozen trucks.
Yeah.
And then, do you remember the Muse concert where the stage went up? Oh God.
Yes.
Oh,
they did the 360-degree concert in California, which I'm sure took a lot of trucks. U2, I absolutely love them. They get a pass from me because they along with their music, they give you a show. They're not like AC/DC, where AC/DC shows up and you're going to get music. In fact, it was, let me go back. Hang on.
Oh, hey, bud, I want to get in under an hour today.
Oh, we're doing well.
I know, but see, I can't summarize anything because it's so long. I don't want to personally summarize it. I wanted to give it to a service to summarize.
We can summarize, can't we?
We'll accept our raggedy ass, super long podcasts.
We're talking Brian Johnson, right, on vocals, right?
Yes. He was
Brian said at the outset, I think it was after their first song, he uttered a couple of words in Spanish, and he said, in effect, we don't know much Spanish, but we sure as shit know rock and roll. And they just unleashed after he said that, man. And I love artists who do that. Coldplay did that. I have a Coldplay in 4K on my. I got a lot of Coldplay in my library, but I have one of their concerts. God, I can't remember the
Yeah,
year.
but when you're watching it and you're not surrounded by it, this was at the MCI Center, and it was just so loud, and I couldn't get away from it.
Well, I kind of
I'm
play
sure I
things.
would have liked the show better if it wasn't physically hurting me.
Yeah, that makes a difference. They did a concert 2012. So this is before they became what they are now, because
Wow.
now they're selling out venues all over the globe. This was a small venue, and I love small venue concerts because I think you get what you get out of artists in those concerts. There's a connection there that you don't get in the larger venues. And this was a smaller venue in France, the Seagal, in 2012. And Coldplay's lead singer, and his name just jumped out of my head. After their first two songs, he thanks the crowd. They're happy to be there. We don't have a lot to say. We're just going to go 100%. Boom. And they're off and running. I love that about artists who just show up, show out, and give you the music.
I remember seeing Fleetwood Mac in a gymnasium. I saw the Cars in a bar, which, I mean, when I say bar, there were only tables on one side of the bar. It was very small. It was like one retail space.
I love it.
And Chris Martin is the lead singer, and I like Chris Martin.
Martin, yeah.
I have nothing bad to say about that. I'm just saying that was really physically painful going to that concert. And
were you older? You had to be older.
Yeah, I was an older dude. Obviously I'm older since there in the last 15 years. So I clearly was already old when I went.
Yeah. That makes a difference.
You know, I almost just switched. We're allowed to switch stuff, right?
Sure.
But I don't know if you enjoy discussions about health and diet. Do you?
I'm bad on both.
Okay, so we've established that. And I'm not preaching to you, but you know what? I think I'm knocking on wood, but it's lacquered wood. Okay, that's less lacquered. I think I can live for a long time. A long time just means quality of life. I don't think I'll live to be 100, but I think I'm going to be able. Now that I mentioned it karmatically, I'll probably screwing myself. But that doesn't change the fact that we're learning a lot about humanity, ourselves. And a lot of new information in the past decade. What brought this to mind is there was a question, how old was I when I went to see Coldplay? I was already old when I went to see Coldplay. So clearly I'm older now. And Coldplay's been around for 10, 15 years. And in the last 10, 15 years, we've started to learn a lot more about what's going on.
Yeah, we have.
Now, the subject matter that I don't think we should get into here, because I want us to get out under an hour. But if you ever wanted to talk about it, this is not a third rail, because
we're adding value.
Well, the thing is that if you're railing about something, or if you're going after something, and the institution that you're criticizing has already won,
right,
and they don't care what you say, then that's not really a third rail, because there's no argument. In other words, there's nobody on the side who's going to be paying attention. If you look at Democrats and Republicans, you actually have people on both sides. But if you look at the way American industry produces food for the populace, they have already succeeded. They have already completely set the agenda.
Of course.
And so we're getting a lot more information, but the information is used on an individual basis, because it's only at the individual level that any of this stuff is
relevant
and usable.
Relevant.
I mean, you're not going to get entire institutions like the American Medical Association to actually buy into some of these things, because it would just absolutely knock the pillars out of almost everything that's currently happening.
I'm not going to become a vegan. I'm not going to eat plant-based food. So You know,
Plant-based food is a good example. Plant-based food takes about 10 times the water that a cow does.
well, that's a good point. Um, and we'll pick this up on a podcast. You know my position.
I think it's a great subject.
You know my position there. In fact, I just had this conversation. As you know, I talked to a financial analyst this week, and who scored me well, surprisingly. And that I told you that was my key takeaway from that discussion was that I'm tracking well to my goal of retirement. I had no idea I was tracking that well, so that was good news. That put some air in my sails. Having said that, I said to him, and I've said this to you. I've said this on Twitter. I've said this to just about everybody that I have conversations. I'm not going to. My father, God rest his soul, hit the mark of 93. He hit the mark of 93. And I've got an uncle in Washington, D.C. who just turned 91. They hit those milestones because they had 2 jobs. You don't live to 93 in the software industry. You don't make it that far in the software business to 93. It ain't happening.
Not if stress is a component of longevity.
Stress is a component of the software industry.
Yep.
Has been, always will be.
So you figure your vocation has cost you what? A decade?
A decade at least.
Okay, I think I'm supposed to mathematically live to be 83.4 years old.
If I hit that, it'll be a miracle.
That's no 91. Well, my mother is approaching 90.
That's a miracle. Anybody hitting 90 is a miracle.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to.
But when you only have 2 jobs throughout your lifetime, yes, you can get to that mark.
Well, it's interesting because there are 2 aspects to this. There is longevity, which would be age, but the item that is of the greatest interest to me and the one that keeps me watching and trying to understand the new information that's coming up about the way we work is quality of life. So I'd like to get to that 83.4. And when I drop dead, just drop dead in a relatively good frame of mind. That's pretty much all I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's pretty much my goal. I told the financial analyst that's the goal, right? Reach full benefits, and I now know what that mark is. My number was, I thought, 66 plus. It looks like it's 67.
Oh, that's so when you hit retirement age, you'll be good.
I'll be good.
You'll be good.
I'll be dead, but I'll be good.
Cheers. You'll be better than I am. That's why I am working diligently to redo everything.
There you go, brother.
All right.
Great show today. Great show today. Great conversations, great topics. Glad we could end on a positive with The Cure and AC/DC and Coldplay. I have some Coldplay stuff for you. I'll funnel to you. I have a performance of theirs. This is my belief in closing out. Now, of course, we haven't seen this because we have a writer's strike. It is my belief, based on personal account, there's something about musicians when they come to, I'm going to call it Broadway, when they come and play live on Saturday Night Live, there's something, every musician that I've seen come on that stage is cognizant of the fact that they're in New York City and they're playing essentially on Broadway. And the Coldplay did a performance on Saturday Night Live that I still have on my DVR that, again, everybody that I see come, I have four musicians from their appearance on Saturday Night Live that were just phenomenal. And I think it's because they understand that it's a live performance, one, and they're in New York City too.
That's really intriguing. And we can't really talk this through here.
No.
We typically skip the musical.
Oh, Bad mistake.
I would say about 4. I've probably seen 4 good
Big mistake.
performances. To me, most of them are absolutely.
Depends on the artist. Depends on the artist.
Well, we must be catching the wrong artist then, because most of the performances on Saturday Night Live, particularly in the last couple of years, we just skip them.
Oh God, you've missed some good ones.
Well, we don't skip them immediately. We try. And
Like Justin Bieber was on there and did a him and Chance the Rapper did a song, and I'm not a big rap guy, but my God, they were.
This would we can't drill down on this because it has to do with things that are completely out of sight, out of mind. I would be curious to understand why we keep skipping the musical acts.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
No, we don't. Skip was the wrong word. We watch the first 30 seconds and we're like, and then we go through.
I get a sense that there's something special about being on that stage in New York City.
That part I like. In other words, I like your story. I like every aspect of it. And now I'm curious what's wrong with me.
Well, that's another podcast session.
I'm not on Twitter. I mean, what's wrong with me?
Right. That's another podcast session that we'll have to
What's wrong with me?
What's wrong with JD? What's wrong with Marlon's black? And what's wrong with JD?
Well, you know what? You flipped it, though. You've been the glass half full guy.
Today. Closing.
Yeah, you've done good.
Yes. Yes. Thanks to you.
Oh, well.
I'm going to take us out. Hey, we're on Twitter. We're on Spoutable. We're on YouTube. First World, Third Rails. Find us, like us, comment on us. And most of all, please subscribe to us.
Have you been tweeting out links?
Negative. But here's what I did do.
We had 0 views.
Here's what I did do this week. I did put our YouTube channel in both profiles of Spoutable and Twitter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could do that. I'm going to go look at yours and I'll do what you did.
Do what I did.
I'm going to do what you did on Spoutable and Twitter. What's interesting is I make statements like, well, I'm going to go ahead and tweet this. And then the moment we hang up, I'm off on other stuff. Which is why I haven't retweeted
it. But I'm making a conscious effort. Hey, as I close us out, teaser, this is what we do in this business. We have a special guest coming at the end of the week. Tune in for anybody still watching, and we'll make noise of this. We've got a session tomorrow, or what is today? I don't even know what today is. Today is Tuesday. Jesus Christ.
Tuesday on the East.
We're at the end of June. Oh my God, holiday is coming up.
I know.
We're off tomorrow, back Thursday and Friday. We got a special guest coming Friday. So please, please, please tune in. I promise you won't be disappointed. For the 2 people still remaining listening to this podcast, please come back. We promise you won't be disappointed.
All right, bud.
All right, brother. We'll see you on the flip side.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye-bye.